Hey, it's Steven here from Marketplace Superheroes, and in this video I'm going to talk about 7 reasons why people stay poor. Now don't worry, I'm not going to do any weird guru tricks. I'm not going to be weird about these secret techniques or anything like that. I'm certainly not going to be negative about anybody or anything in particular. What I am absolutely going to do is give you 7 things that if you do any of these, you got to stop doing them right now if you want to be financially successful. And before I jump in, as always, smash a like in the video. I said smash a like, so please do smash one. And also give me a subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon as well so we can let you know about more videos. That said, let's get right into the video and get into number 1. Now, first of all, very important, did you smash a like? I hope you did. Only smash it once or then it'll go off, all right? That's it. Anyway, I hate when people say smash a like. Go down and smash that like button! Let's get right into the first point. And the first one is very simple. I've got my notes here. And the first one is that people who are poor, inverted commas, are not financially successful. They're way too focused on risk. Now, you might be saying to me, Steven, you don't tell me there's no such thing as risk. Look, there absolutely is such a thing as risk. However, people that are poor or not financially successful, they really think about this all the time. They look for the risk all the time. Like, they literally don't want to put any money into any business whatsoever, and they still expect to become successful. And the reality is that when you're starting any company, I don't care if you're starting an Amazon business, a services business, consulting business, a dropshipping business, anything, like a cafe, obviously, there's always inherent risk involved. But what you need to learn to become successful financially is that you can manage risk. How do you manage risk? Very simple. You know what the hell you're doing. The big problem I see the world over is that nobody is educated in what they're looking to do, and they go in completely clueless, and everything then feels like a huge risk. When you actually know what you're talking about, you understand the A to Z process of the business that you're looking to get into, or whatever it is you're looking to do, you don't feel like it's risky anymore. Why? Because you understand the mechanics of what you're trying to do. So in order to avoid becoming poor, and that's why you're watching the video, let's face it. And again, I'm not saying this in a negative way. I'm just saying if you want to be financially successful, you know, these are the things you got to do. So the first thing you've got to understand is, number 1, what business am I going into? Number 2, what's the A to Z process behind that business? Number 3, understand I'm going to put some money, I'm going to put some time, I'm going to put something into the business to get it going, and understand that that's okay. That's part of starting anything, and it's part of becoming financially successful. Where I want you to get to is you have an outlook on risk that looks like this. I don't see risk. I see risks only when I don't understand something. So understand, and unfortunately I have to say it's knowledge, which we all know is kind of like a meme at this point. Knowledge. But knowledge is key to you, it's key to me, it's key to everybody. So that's the first thing. You cannot spend your life fearing risk, trying to avoid risk all the time. All right, number 2, they don't understand return on investment. Now, before you snore and think that's incredibly boring, let me say, ROI is one of the most exciting things you can possibly learn. And what it means is return on investment. So you put time into something, you put money into something. Anytime you put resources in, you're always looking for a return. And what a return means is that the initial thing that you put in, it actually multiplies. The reason I was poor whenever I started out was I didn't understand that putting resources into something actually can, and when you do things right, results in a bigger outcome. I always used to believe that, you know, it's like if I have clothes, gas, fuel, okay, it's the same thing. If I have rent, if I have holidays, if I have expensive computer games or whatever that I used to play and still do play. The problem is this, look, if you're putting all your money out into liabilities all the time, you're going to be in a situation where you don't see your return on investment, because let's face it, when you play a computer game, sure, it's fun and all, and we like shooting people in Fortnite or we like playing FIFA like I do. At the end of the day, like, you know, being a great ultimate team player in FIFA, that's not going to make you financially successful, because you're not going to get a return on that. Now, I know you could become a gamer as a career, or maybe you stream on YouTube as a career. That's an example where you could get a return on investment. So if you're in a situation right now where you're in a job, you're not making that much money, I'm going to say to you, your real problem is that you're not in a situation where your inputs can turn into multiplied outputs. Because let's face it, if you're working in a job, you're never going to get paid what you're quote unquote worth. Because if everybody got paid what they were worth all the time, no business would ever be successful. They wouldn't be financially successful, right? So you always want to be in a situation where you can turn something into a multiplied result. And that's That's absolutely number 2. That's how you become successful. 1 second, I'm just gonna ask you to do something really simple. If you're enjoying the video so far, please hit a like, it's down there. And number 2, I'd love you to comment #RewardOverRisk, because we're talking about something important today, and it's all about focusing on the reward, not focusing on the risk. That's how you become successful. We've lots more points to come, but please do that right now. It really helps us, it helps the channel, it helps the video, and also it's gonna help you because you put that down there. That's gonna help you remember this video. You said to yourself today, I'm focusing on reward, I'm not focusing on risk, I'm gonna learn to do things the right way. With that said, back to the video. Number 3, they don't improve their skills. And as a matter of fact, whenever you tell people to improve their skills and put some money down to improve their skills, they'll say what? They'll say, that's a scam. And the thing about scams the world over is like, there's not that many scams. And there's certain scams like, you get people a little email that say, I'm the prince of some country and I'm going to give you $100,000 or whatever by Friday. That is a scam, yes. But going and learning from somebody else about how to achieve a certain outcome, how to get a certain skill that you can apply in your life and in your business, and you get a multiplied result from that, if you think that's a scam, which I'm sure you don't, but if you do, I'm telling you, you're in for a really bad time, a really bad reality, because that isn't a scam. What's the scam out there? Well, it's go to a certain place for 4 to 7 years, put a lot of money into that every single year, learn from people who in many cases have never done what they're teaching you to do, and then at the end of it you get a little certification that says, hey, you know how to do this, and then you think, I'm done now, I'm going to go and I'm going to have a successful career with no network, no nothing. And then what happens? It doesn't happen for you. I've seen people who have these little certifications, which some people call degrees, and what happens? They end up in jobs that are way more underpaid than they qualified for. I see people getting qualifications who never use their qualifications. Why? Because the whole system is set up for us to fail. It's not set up for us to be financially successful. So if we're relying on traditional means of education to be successful, sometimes that can work, but in many cases, it's not going to work for you or me, by the way. So how do we get beyond this? We go and we take our money, we invest in skills from people who are doing what we want to do, we learn from them, we apply what they're saying, we don't just sit there and let it gather digital dust like a lot of people do. That's how you become successful, and you need skills. Skills, I'm not going to say skills pay the bills because that's so cliche, but they do, it's true. So look, you got to get skills, you got to upgrade your skills, and let's move on. Number 4, I think, is that people who are poor are not financially successful. What do? Well, they complain and waste time. I was the exact same when I worked in my job. I was no different. I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody because we're not. But what I am saying is this. When you complain, all the free time you have, you waste playing video games or watching Netflix or whatever, and you don't utilize that time to do what we talked about earlier on, get skills, create a situation where you can have a return on your investment, you're going to remain where you are. And I just don't want that for you at all, because you're watching this channel to improve your life, to improve your income, to become more successful financially. And that's a big thing. There's a saying, and it goes something like this. It's not exactly like this, but everything comes to he or she who hustles while they wait. Now, I'm not saying that you have to take every waking hour and just grind. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is if you're not where you want to be right now, every spare moment that you have, and yes, that includes the toilet, well, that's time that you could be investing in learning, right? And I know that's a completely disgusting image I just gave you, but it is true. If you're just wasting time, then that's all you're going to get terrible results. So from now on, I want you to start thinking about, what am I doing during the day, during lunchtime, after work, before work? What am I doing? And are the things that I'm doing right now moving me towards my goals or further away from my goals? And if your goal is passive income and being successful financially, then I'm going to suggest to you that wasting time on these things that have no return on investment is not good. Now, down the line, when you're successful, when you're making the money you want to make, then you can add those things back in and they actually become really enjoyable then. But I highly suggest you to make it a habit to be learning skills, to be reading things, to be learning, to educate yourself, because we're coming to a situation now where it's a global, worldwide economy. It's the most competitive it's ever going to be, and it's only going to get more competitive. positive. And if you're mediocre in any way, you're not going to get to the top of where you want to be. So let's move on to the next point. Hold up, as always, another question for you. It's really simple. I'm really interested in your answer to this. What's one expense that's silly in your life right now that you absolutely could cut out of your life? Maybe it's clothes, expensive clothes, maybe it's expensive electronics, maybe it's too many vacations. What's something right now that you know you're just throwing money at and you don't need to? Please put it into the comments right now. And if you haven't already, like the video. With that said, let's jump back in and finish this off. Number 5. People who are poor, they waste money on crap that they don't need. Now, we've talked about video games, we've talked about a lot of things, but how many times have you seen someone say, oh, I don't have it, I can't afford that. And then they're saying that on a phone call to somebody, and it's a brand new iPhone or a brand new Samsung or whatever, right? I sounded like a 50-year-old and I said brand new Samsung.
90% of the time, I have no idea what the I'm talking about.
But that said, look, you cannot be in a situation where you're just wasting your money all the time because you're not going to get that return we talked about earlier on. You have got to get yourself in a situation where you're putting money into an asset, something that can grow. Now, if you say to me, oh yeah, Stephen, I heard about this one time, I should put all my money into like a pension fund. Pension funds are great and they can be something that really help you in the future be financially successful. But if you're in a situation where you're making no money and you're putting a tiny fraction of no money into a pension fund that's making 5% a year, you're never going to retire successful unless you're 300 years old and wrinkly and weird. That's just not going to happen, right? What you've got to do instead is you've got to learn skills like we talked about. You got to bring those skills into a place that you can get a return on that and you can grow. So when I look at things like even my phone, I often say I don't have the latest iPhone, and it's not because I can't afford it. It's because I know if I just keep on putting my money into things that don't multiply for me, that don't give me more results, it's just a waste. Like, what was so different about the newer phone that wasn't there in the earlier phones? Very little, right? Better images, facial recognition. Who cares? Like, we're not in Minority Report or something like that. We're in the real world where we're trying to be successful. So please do not waste your money on crap. Put your money into things that are going to make your life better, that are going to give you a return. The next time you see somebody teaching something, before you say it's a scam, we already covered that, ask yourself, am I going to at least make back what I put into this thing? And if the answer is yes, if it's over a year, 2 years, then that's a good investment. However, when you sit down and you watch the latest season of Power or whatever the cool kids are watching right now, like, that's cool, you'll enjoy it, but is that going to make you more successful, get you towards your goals if you're trying to be financially successful? I'd say probably not. So let's skip that. Let's get the thing done now. Let's get the work done now. It's going to get us where we want to be. And then we can sit there and enjoy whatever is going to be big then at that point. All right, let's move on. Number 6, I think, we're going to talk about cutting down expenses rather than increasing incomes. This is such a big one. I remember, right, I was in my bedroom in a house. I lived with 10 other people. It was like the United Nations of Ireland. And I was living there and I was in a situation where I wanted to make more money. And I had this random goal. And it was, I want to put 10 grand into my bank account before the end of the year. And it was like the start of the year, right? New Year's resolutions and all of that. So immediately what did I do? I looked at all my expenses, my rent, my food, didn't pay gas at the time because I drove, but let's just say, bus, all that, right? Holidays, computer games, I think I said clothes, but clothes as well, right? I have to clothe myself, so I thought, with all the latest brand stuff. But here I was, all these different expenses and, not where I wanted to be financially. So what did I say to myself? Well, if I just start slashing all these, cutting them all down, I'm going to have more money. And I can take that little bit more money and do what? Put in a savings account that made me absolutely no money, 0%. Actually, right now, it's less than 1%. You'll get in your savings in most banks. And if you don't believe me, just start Googling the different banks, like in America, in the UK, in Ireland, all across the world, the bank interest rates are really low. Why? Because they want to take your money and loan it to other people at high interest rates. They want to make money. They want to keep you poor if you're just saving money all the time. I'm not saying don't save, by the way. It's important to save. But what I am telling you, and you really got to listen to this, is that if you're relying on savings long term, you're not going to become financially successful. I'm sorry, unless you've got a huge income. So that is the real key. That's what you got to focus on. That's what I had to focus on. I wasn't making enough money. Why? I didn't have skills that were profitable. That was my big problem. So here I was trying to slash expenses to get more money, to get 10 grand in the bank. That's not the right way to be thinking. The right way to think is, okay, I have these expenses. What's my income right now? How can I increase my income by 50%? What can I do? That's the question you want to be asking yourself. So, what skill do you need to learn right now that's going to help you make more money? What do you need to cut from your life that is completely pointless, that's just taking all your money? And instead of cutting that and like saving it somewhere, how can I cut that expense out and invest it to learn something that's going to get me more money? Like, this stuff is simple. It's not rocket science, but it's something that nobody maybe has sat you down and talked about before. And hopefully this video is the wake-up call to tell you the things you're focusing on are not the right things. And with that said, let's get on to the final point that I hope is going to bring us home and give you what you need today, which is what? It's to take action on the important things now and actually make changes that are going to help you make more money now and into the future. This is the final point. I already said it earlier on in a way, but I'm going to say it again. People who are not successful financially, they think everybody is out to get them, right? They think everything's a scam, like I've talked about, right? Like everything's a scam. If they don't understand it, it's a scam, right? Even here where I'm from in Ireland, like I might talk about the businesses that I operate and people see I'm doing better than I used to. I'm doing well now. And people look at me and they try to figure out what's he doing that's like breaking the law? Like what's the trick? Like what's the little thing? Now, not everybody does. Some people do. And the reason for that is that we've all been taught from the time we're kids that wealth is always created by like some event, like you win the lottery, you sell a company, something just happens like that and we make money straight away. Well, wealth is all about process, learning processes. That's how you become successful. So when people say, oh, I don't understand this, it's a scam, or I don't understand this, but how are they out to get me? That kind of paranoia is going to hold you back from so many things. What I want you to do from now on is start asking yourself, when someone is selling something to you, right? Ask yourself, how is this going to improve my life? If I was to take everything that person said and do what they say and get the result, how would that change my life? And if the answer is it would change it in a positive way, then it's not a scam, right? It's something that somebody's teaching, you can learn and you can go and do. Now, yes, there are scams out there, 100%. There's pyramid scams, there's everything under the sun. But when you look at something, really try to understand it. And if you can see the business beneath it, then it's not a scam. Whereas if you look at something and all you see is like, I don't see how they're making money from this or how they could be making money from this is super weird and I'm out, right? But if you're in the other situation where you can kind of see, you don't quite understand it, ask a question, find out how it works, and then go from there. But like, not everybody's out to get you. I used to have this mindset. My parents taught it to me. They're lovely people, but they did teach me this thing. And it's just not true. Like many times, like all the courses we ever sell and will sell, they're designed to help you. Yes, we make money, but you should make way more money in the long term than that one sale to you with what you're doing. So just remember that, okay? I mean, we're here to create value, people like me. There's lots more people like me. I'm not some unicorn. There's lots of people adding a lot of value out there, but always ask the right questions. And with that said, let's get to the outro. That's it for today. It was fast and furious. It was a bit of a rant today. Hope you had a little bit of fun as well. You know, we tried to make it lighthearted, but really, I wanted to teach you something today that I really hope is of massive value to you. And I know if you listen to what I'm saying and you apply these 7 things and you really make sure you don't do any of them, you're going to become more financially successful. That said, as always, please like the video if you enjoyed it. If you agree with any of the points, hit a like. Number 2, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us get our videos out to more people like you. And finally, make sure you leave a comment. We ask you a number of times in these videos and we tell you what comments that we recommend, so please leave us a comment. It really does help more people see this content as well. That said, thank you so much for being a part of our world, and if you're not part of Marketplace Superheroes, jump down to the description right now, grab the free training. Also, there should be a pinned comment there as well with the same link to our training to teach you how to build an Amazon business from complete scratch. That said, see you in the next one. Thanks again.